Hello everyone, my name is Gyimah Addae, and today we are here to solve questions on business mathematics. Let's proceed. So we begin with a preamble. It says, Poku Trading Supermarket pays its staff and supervisors basic salary plus commission, plus bonus, and override as shown below. It also makes some funds available for staff to draw from in case they are financially distressed. So basic salary bracket supervisors is 1,850 cedis. Basic salary for staff is 1,240 Ghana cedis. Personal quota for staff is 10,000 Ghana cedis. Personal commission rate is 7.15% for sales up to 47,500 cedis. Bonus, as stated, is 1,500 flat for excess sales above 57,500. Store quota is 60,000 Ghana cedis, an override of 2.85%. So we proceed with question one. It says, what is the personal commission amount for a staff who makes a sale of 38,700 Ghana cedis? And we know that when it comes to commission amount is sales minus quota. Is sales minus quota. This question specifically wants you to calculate for commission amount. Commission amount. So the sales stated in the question is 38,700. It's 38,700 Ghana cedis. 38,700 Ghana cedis. And the quota given is 10,000 Ghana cedis. It's 10,000 Ghana cedis. So when you subtract, you are getting 28,700. 28,700. And this 28,700 wasn't among the options. It wasn't provided. So what you are doing is that you you write your answer and you what? You shade E. You write your answer, which is 28,700, and you shade E. This question is asking you to calculate commission amount, not commission. Commission amount. So you subtract your what? Your quota from your sales to get this amount. And as you know, it's not in the options given. So you shade E and you write your answer as well. We move on to question two. It says, how much commission will a staff make if she makes a sale of 57,000 and had a return of 15,000? How much commission will a staff make if she make a sale of 57,000 and had a return of 15,000? So the sales given is 57,000. The sales given is 57,000. Returns is 15,000. Returns is 15,000 Ghana cedis. So you would have to find your what? Your actual sales amount first. You have to find your actual sales amount first. And with that, you subtract the returns from the what? From the sales itself. You subtract the returns from the sales itself. And when you do that, you are getting 42,000. You are getting 42,000 Ghana cedis. So now you proceed with finding your what? Your commission. And we know that where there is quota, commission is calculated on a commission amount. Where there is quota, commission is calculated on a commission amount. So the commission amount will be, you subtract the 10,000 from your 42,000 Ghana cedis and you are getting 32,000. You are getting 32,000 Ghana cedis. And when you are done with your commission amount, you multiply it by your rate, which is 0.0715. 0.0715. And when you do this, you are getting 2,288. 2,288 Ghana cedis, which makes the answer for question 2A. which makes the answer for question 2 A. We proceed to question 3. We proceed to question 3. It says if a staff makes a sale of 60,500 Ghana cedis and has a draw of 1,350 cedis, what will be his or her net earning? So, with this, the sale given in the question is 60,500. The sales given in the question is 60,500. Provision of draws 1,350 50 Ghana cedis. So now we proceed by finding out our commission. But with this question, the sales given in the question has exceeded the range that was given. Looking at the preamble, it said personal commission rate is 7.15% for sales up to 47,500. So in our previous videos, we learned that if the sales given exceeds the quota, which is the 47,500, or the range given, which is the 47,500, what you do is that you are going to stick to what the 47,500. That means that the other commissions that was added up to the 47,500, we are not going to gain commission on it. We are not going to gain commission on it. So we are not going to stick to this 60,500, but rather we are going to stick to 47,500. So finding our commission becomes commission amount times rate. So therefore, finding the commission amount, the sales we are going to use or we are going to stick to is the 47,500 because this has exceeded this. So since this sales the given in the question has exceeded the actual range given, which is the 47,500, we are going to stick to the 47,500 and subtract our quota, which is the 10,000 Ghana cedis from it, and we proceed in getting our what our commission. So when we subtract the quota 10,000 from the 47,500, we are getting 37,500, and we multiply by our rate. The answer we are getting is 2,681.25. 2,681.25. So now we have our commission. So we are heading to our what? Our net earning. And we know that net earning is what? Our total earning minus our draws. So we would have to find our total earning. And the total earning is our commission plus salary plus bonus, if any. So the commission that we had was 2,681.25 plus the salary given to be 1,240, and a bonus of 1,500 Ghana cedis. Bonus of 1,500 Ghana cedis. So the total earnings sums up to be 5,421.25. 5,421.25. So we now have our what? Our total earning. So our net earning here is, we will be subtracting the draws provided in the question from the total earning to get our net earning. And the draws given in the question is 1,350. 1,350 Ghana cedis. So therefore, our net earning here is 4,071.25, which makes the answer C. We proceed to question 4. So we proceed to question 4, and it says, what is the store commission amount if store sales for the period is 102,000 Ghana cedis? What is the store commission amount if store sales for the period is 102,000 thousand. So store commission amount is store sales minus what? Store quota. Store sales minus store quota. So the store sales given here is 102,000 Ghana cedis, and we have our store quota to be 60,000. So we subtract 60,000 from 102,000, getting 42,000 Ghana cedis. Getting 42,000 Ghana cedis as our store commission amount, which makes the answer B. Which makes the answer B. So we proceed to question 5. It says Humira is a supervisor. How much override does she make given the store sales in question 4? So question 4, the store sales we have for question 4 is going to help us get that of question 5's answer. So override is store commission amount times what? Override rate. So we will have to first find our store commission amount, and we already have our store commission amount to be 42,000. So we will have to multiply our override rate by the 42,000, and the override rate is 0.0285. 0.0285. So when we multiply this by this, we are getting 1,197. 1,197 Ghana cedis, and it makes the answer for question 5 also B. B. We proceed to question 6. We proceed to question 6. So we proceed to question 6. It says, how much is Humira's take home for the period above, assuming she earned salary but no personal commission in the period? So with the take home is override plus salary. We're adding the override plus what? The salary. And our override, as we calculated in the subsequent questions, the override we had was 1,197. 1,197 Ghana cedis, and we had our salary to be 1,850. 1,850. So we are adding this to get our what? When we add, we are getting 3,047. 3,047 Ghana cedis. 3,047 Ghana cedis as Humira's take home. As Humira's take home, which makes the answer for question 6 B. We proceed to question 7. Question 7. It says Abdul Basit and is a staff and made a sale of 45,500 Ghana cedis and had a return of 1,000 Ghana cedis. What is his gross earning? What is his gross earning? And we know that gross earning is commission plus salary. Commission plus salary. So we will first have to find our commission. And you know that commission where quota is calculated on a commission amount. It's calculated on a commission amount. But first of all, we will have to find our actual sales. So with the actual sales, you subtract our 1,000 Ghana cedis from 45,500 Ghana cedis to get our actual sales amount. And we are getting 44,500 Ghana cedis. We are getting 44,500 Ghana cedis as our actual sales. So now we can proceed by solving our commission. So now we have our actual sales. So we can go ahead to subtract our quota from the actual sales. So as I said, commission is calculated on a commission amount. So commission amount therefore becomes the actual sales, which is the 44,500 minus the quota, which is the 10,000 Ghana cedis. And when we do so, we would have to multiply our rate by this as well. 1.15. And the rate is 0.0715. Initially, it was 7.15%. So when you change it to decimals, you get 0.0715 as rate. And when you do the calculation, you are getting 2,466.75. 2,466.75 as our commission. As our commission. As our commission. So now we have our commission. So we proceed to finding our gross earning. So with the gross earning, you state your your commission, then you add that of the salary, which is 1,240 Ghana cedis, and you are getting 3,706.75. 3,706.75, which makes our answer for question 7D. For question 7D, option D. We proceed to question 8. We proceed to question 8. So we move on to question 8. It says, how much will a supervisor who makes a personal sale of 75,000 take home if store sales for the same period is 136,500 Ghana cedis? So we know that take home's formula is total earning minus all deductions. And total earning also has a formula which is salary plus override plus commission. So we first have to find out commission. And commission, where there is quota or returns, is calculated on a commission amount. So we proceed. Commission is commission amount times rate, and commission amount therefore is sales minus quota. And with this, the sales given in the question has exceeded the actual range given in the preamble. The actual range given in the preamble is 47,500, and now the sales which has been given to us in the question is 75,000, which means that it has exceeded the 47,500. So we are sticking to the 47,500. So our commission amount will be 47,500 minus 10,000, which is the quota. So we are having 37,500 as our commission amount. So our commission becomes 37,500 times our rate, which is 0.0715. So our commission is 2,681.25. 2,681.25. We move on to find our override, and we know that finding override to has a formula which is override amount times override rate. So override amount to is the store sales minus what store quota. So the store sales given in the question is 136,500. 136,500 minus the quota, which is 60,000 Ghana cedis, getting 76,500 as our override amount. 76,500 as our override amount. As our override amount. So we therefore multiply the override amount by our override rate. And when we do so, we are getting 2,180. 2,180.25 as our override. So now that we have our override, we proceed in finding our take home. So now we have our commission to be 2,681.25, and we have our override to be 2,180.25. And there was a bonus made available, the question, and also a salary as well. So you add the salary to the commission. Um, so it will be commission plus the override plus the salary plus the bonus in order to aid us get our what our take home earning as well, our take home earning. So we have take home earning to be TE, and you have our commission to be 2,681.25 plus our override to be 2,180.25 plus our bonus to be 1,500 plus salary to be 1,850. And when we are to add this, we are getting 8,211.50. 8,211.50. So therefore, the answer for the question 8 is D. Is D. Is D, which is the 8,211.50. We proceed to question 9. So we proceed to question 9, and it says, if store returns in a period amounted to 35,000 Ghana cedis and total store sales was 100,000 Ghana cedis, how much override would the supervisor earn? So with this, that's giving us store returns, that's giving us the total sales. So we'll have to find our override. And we know that the formula for override is override amount times the override rate. And with the override amount, you'd have to subtract your quota from your store sales, from your store sales, and returns has also been made available. So to be your quota minus to be quota and returns subtracted from what the store sales. So this is how it goes. The override amount. So the store sales which was made available is the 100,000 Ghana cedis, and we subtract the 35,000 from it, which is the store returns within the period, which is 35,000 Ghana cedis, and we subtract our store quota from it as well, which is the 60,000 Ghana cedis, and we are getting 5,000 as our override amount. We're getting 5,000 Ghana cedis as our override amount. So now that we have our 5,000 Ghana cedis, we would have to multiply our override rate by the 5,000 Ghana cedis to get our override. And when we do so, we are getting 142.50. 142.50 Ghana cedis as our override. So therefore, the answer for question 9 is B. Is B. The answer for question 9 is B. We proceed to question 10. So now with question 10, it says, what is the personal commission amount for all staff assuming they all made sales above 47,500? Assuming they all made sales above 47,500. So as I told you, if the sales exceed 47,500, when you are calculating the commission amount, you stick to the 47,500 and you subtract the quota from it. So now we will have to subtract the quota, which is the 10,000 from the 47,500, and we are getting 37,500, as you already know, 37,500 Ghana cedis, and the answer to question 10 is B, a solid B, a solid B. We move on to the next set of questions. So now we are moving to another set of questions. But before that, there is a table. I would have to explain the table, and there is an extension we will have to find, and also lowest price we would have to find. So now the question says the following is an extract from the inventory records of Casaprep Kumasi Limited. The net sales for the period amounted to 220,000 Ghana cedis. The cost of goods sold was 210,600 Ghana cedis, and purchases amounted to 280 cedis 280,750.75 Ghana cedis. Use the information to answer questions 11 to 20. Questions 11 to 20. But before that, we would have to explain the table, how we had our extension and how we had our lowest price. So with this extension, you will have to multiply your unit cost by your quantity unit to get your extension. I repeat, with the extension, you have to multiply your unit cost by your quantity unit to get the extension. So now, when you multiply that of 42.15 by 115 series, 115, you are getting 4,847.25. 4,847.25. You can also take your calculator and also join me in calculating the extension. We multiply 58 by 135, you are getting 7,830. We multiply 61.05 by 150, we are getting 9,157.50. 9,157.50. We multiply 66.50 by 165, you get 10,972.5. 10,972.5. So we proceed by multiplying 74.10 by 175, and we are getting 12,967.5. 12,967.5. And we proceed to multiply 80.15 by 225. We are getting 8,033.75. You're getting 18,033.75. And now we multiply 86.50 by 260. 86.50 by 260, and we get 22,490. 22,490. So this is how we had our extension, by multiplying our unit cost by our quantity unit, and after that you find its total. We get 86,298.5. 86,298.5. 98.5. But before that, let's find the total of the quantity unit. The total of the quantity unit, which is 1,225. 1,225. Now we move on to the lowest price. How then do we find the lowest price? Before you find the lowest price, you have to compare your unit cost by your market value. So you compare these two and you check which one is the smallest. So we have 43.25 here and we have 42.15 here. 43.25 is higher than 42.15. So therefore you take the 42.15 and you multiply it by your quantity unit to get your lowest price. I repeat, you compare the unit cost and the market value. The smallest value, you take it and you multiply it by your quantity unit to get your lowest price. So we begin with the beginning inventory, which has 42.15. 42.15. We are getting 4,847.24. So we are getting this 1,847.24. Sorry, 0.25. And now we come to February. We compare these two. We get to know that 54 is smallest because 50, there's no way 54 is higher than 58. So we multiply 54 by 135 and we get 7,290. 7,290. And now we compare these two, which is the mean, and we have 61.05 and we have 60.75. So we take the 60.75 and multiply it by 150. We are getting 9,112.50. 9,112.50. Now we proceed. Here, 66.15 is the lowest, so we multiply it by the 165, and we are getting 10,914.75. 10,914.75. So we proceed to October. And we know that 74.10 is the lowest. So we take that and multiply it by the 175. When we do that, we are getting 12,967.50. 12,967.50. November. November, we have 80 point. So we proceed with November. So with November, we would have to compare, which is the 80.15 and the 82. Here we know that 80.15 is the lowest. So we multiply it by the 225, getting 18,033.75. Getting 18,033.75. And now we proceed to December. December, the lowest here is 85.15. So we multiply it by the 260 and we get 22,139. 22,139. So we add all this to get our total, and the total is 85,304.75. 85,304.75. So now we proceed to solve the question beneath. So question 11, it says, what is the average price per item purchased in the period including beginning inventory? So the average price or the average cost has a formula, and the formula is total cost over number of units. Total cost over number of units. So the average cost, which is the question 11, the average cost, it says total cost over number of units. Over number of units. So the average cost is 86,298.5. 86,298.5 divided by the number of units, and the number of units we have 1,225. 1,225. So we took the total of this to be the number of units, and the total cost is the 86,298.5. And when you do so, you are getting 70.45. 70.45 as our average cost. Which makes the answer for question 11 C. We proceed to question 12. So with question 12, it says, what is the extension for the month of October? What is the extension for the month of October? And the extension for the month of October is already in the table to be 12,967.5. So the answer for question 12 is B. So question 13. It says, what is the total extension? So the total extension, as we tallied here, is 86,298.5. 86,298.5, making the answer for question 13 D. We proceed to question 14. We proceed to question 14. It says, what is the value of inventory using the average method? What is the value of inventory using the average method? So with the value of inventory using the average method is average cost times ending inventory. The average cost times ending inventory. And we had the average cost in the first question we solved to be 70.45. To be 70.45. So the ending inventory given is 580. The ending inventory given is 580 and it's already stated in the what? In the table. So what you do is that you multiply these two. You multiply these two, and when you do so, you multiply these two, and when you do so, you are getting 40,000. So with the question 14, it says we will multiply the average cost by the ending inventory. So we have our ending inventory here stated in the table, and the average cost was the amount we had for the question 11. So when you multiply, you are getting 40,861, 40,861 cedis, making question 14A. Making question 14A. We move on to question 15. We move on to question 15. So now we proceed to question 15. We proceed to question 15. It says, what is the value of inventory using the first in, first out method? So with the first in, first out method, which is the FIFO, with the FIFO, you start from the bottom to the apex. That's the difference. But with the LIFO, you start from the apex to the bottom. That's how it is. So with the question 15, we are starting from December. So with this, you have to multiply your quantity unit by your unit cost. You multiply your quantity unit by your unit cost, and as we have done that here already. So with the December, you are getting two 22,590 for December, 22,590. So you'd have to find your remainder. Your remainder. And the remainder, what you do is that you subtract your quantity unit from your ending inventory. You subtract your quantity unit from your ending inventory. So our ending inventory is 580, and we subtract our quantity unit which for December, which is 260, and we are getting 320. 320 as our remainder. We proceed to November. We proceed to November. With November, we are getting 18,033.75. 18,033.75. 0.75. So we will have to find the remainder for November as well. Remainder for November as well. And as I said, you will multiply, sorry, you subtract your quantity unit for November. As we did for the December, we subtracted our quantity unit for the December from our ending inventory. From our ending inventory. So with the remainder for November, we had 320 for December. So we will bring that 320 here and we subtract our quantity units from it. So the 320, then we subtract our 225 from it, and we get 95. We get 95 as our remainder for November. So now when we get to October, the 95 we have here, the 95 we have here will be multiplied to our unit cost will be multiplied by our unit cost for the October, and the unit cost for the October is 74.10. So 95 by 74.10, and we are getting 7,039. 7,039.50 for October. So now, as the question demanded, what is the value of inventory using first in, first out method? So now what you do is that you add the value you had for December, value you had for November, and the value you had for October. And when you add these three, you are getting 47,563.25, and this answer does not appear in the option, so therefore you write this answer and you shade E. You shade E. You shade E. We move on to question 16. Move on to question 16. So now we proceed to question 16. It says, based on the first in, first out philosophy, how much of the ending inventory is from October? And we all know that October had 95. So the answer for question 16 is A, 95. 95. We proceed to question 17. We proceed to question 17. It says, what is the value of inventory using the last in, first out method? So as I said, the last in, first out method, we start from the apex, the chassis free extra, and the upper form. But with the first in, first out, we start from the bottom, the chassis free as and the posture. So with question 17, the beginning inventory, with the beginning inventory, you multiply your quantity unit by your unit cost, and as we've done here, the beginning inventory is 4,847.25. 4,847.25. We proceed to find its remainder. So you subtract the quantity unit from what's your ending inventory, and the ending inventory is 58. So you are getting 465. 465. Getting 465. We proceed to February. So with February, our extension, which is we multiplying our unit cost by our quantity unit, gives us 7,830. 7,830. And the remainder is where we are subtracting our quantity units from the remainder we had for the beginning inventory. So the remainder here is 330. It's 330. We proceed to May. And with May, the extension we had by multiplying the unit cost by the quantity unit was 9,157. 9,157. So we proceed to find the remainder for May. And we first write the remainder we had for February, which is 330, and we subtract our quantity unit from it, which is the 150. So we are getting 180 for May as a remainder. We proceed to July. And July, our extension was given to be 10,000. 972.5, 10,972.5, and the remainder for July stated you first state your 180 and you subtract your quantity units for July from it, and we are getting 15. We are getting 1 5 15. So we proceed to October. We proceed to October. We proceed to October. So with October, with the July, we have 15 left. With the July, we have 1 5 left. So we multiply this 1 5 by the unit cost of October, which is 74.10 by 1 5 15, and you are getting 1,111, 1,111.50, point 50, point 50. So now what we do is that we are adding this to this, to that, to this, and to this to get us our last in first out, the value for inventory using the last in first out method. So we will add our extension as gotten for the beginning inventory for February, for May, for July, and also for the October. And when we do so, we are getting 33,918.75, and is given to be answer B. Answer B in their objective. So now we proceed to question 18. We proceed to question 18. So now we proceed to question 18. It says, what is the value of inventory using the gross profit method if Casaprepon decided to determine this at retail? So value of inventory using the gross profit amounts to value of inventory equals merchandise for sales available minus net sales. Merchandise available for sale minus what? Net sale. So you first um value of inventory. So the merchandise for sales available, for sale amounts to beginning inventory plus purchases. Beginning inventory plus purchases. So now we have the beginning inventory to be 48,000, to be 4,847.25, and the purchases as provided is 280,750.75, 280,750.75, and when you add, you are getting 285,000, 598, 598. You are getting 285,598 cedis. So now after getting this, what you do is that you subtract your net sales from this to get your what? Value of inventory. Subtract your net sales from this to get your what? Value of inventory. So now our net sales provided 220,000, 220,000, 220,000, and when you subtract, you are getting 65,598, 65,598. 598. And with this figure, is not given in the option as you see on your screens or in the question specifically. So you write this answer and you shade E. You write this answer and you shade E on your scannable sheet during examination. So we proceed to question 19. It says, what is the value of inventory at retail if net sale in the period was 46,500 and purchases amounted to 50,150.15 Ghana cedi. So, as the formula goes, it says value of inventory equals merchandise for sale minus net sales. So, you first have to find your merchandise available for sales, and which is the beginning inventory plus what purchases. So, let's clear this as we solve the question 19. So before you find your get your amount for merchandise available for sale, the formula is beginning inventory plus purchases as we did for the question 18. So the amount for beginning inventory is stated right here, which is the 4,847.25. Then you add your purchases. Which is which was stated in the question to be 50,150.15. 50,150.15, maybe 50.55, and you are getting 54,000, 54,997.4, 997.4, 997.4. So when you get this, this is your merchandise available for sale. So you then subtract your net sales from this. You subtract your net sales from this. And when you subtract the net sales is given to be 46,500. 46,500 as stated in the question. 46,500. 46,500. And you are getting 8,497. 8,497.40. And with this, when you look at the question, this figure here is not in the options. So what you do is that you write this on your question paper and you shade E on your scannable sheet. So we move on to question 20, and that will be the end. We move on to question 20, and that will be the end. So we move on to the last question, which is question 20. It says, what is the value of inventory for the last three periods using the lower of cost or market value? So it says, what is the value of inventory for the last three periods? So the last three periods is December, November, and October. So we add the lowest price for December to November and also to October. And when we do so, we are getting 53,140.25. 140.25, and the answer is stated clearly in the options given, which is option B or option B for question 20. So my name is Gyimah Addae Samuel, known as Gas, and this is the end of today's session. Thank you very much.